No, he was pretty specific about it.
One Christmas Eve, not so many years ago, and not so far from here, a boy named Billy and a girl named Jenny excitedly and nervously got in their pajamas and waited for the arrival of Santa Claus. Every year, they told themselves that this was going to be the year that they stayed awake long enough to actually see St. Nick, and this year was no exception. They got into their beds and remained as quiet as church mice until their parents turned off the TV and head to bed themselves. Dad checked on Billy, who had his eyes closed tight and was apparently fast asleep. Mom checked on Jenny. Jenny felt Mom's eyes on her and got the sudden urge to giggle. She was holding back her giggle as hard as she could until she thought she couldn't bear it any longer, when suddenly Dad called to Mom, who turned away and shut the door behind her. Soon the house was quiet, and Billy and Jenny snuck into the living room. The house was decorated brightly for Christmas. The room was illuminated only by the Christmas lights that Dad had hung from the rafters, like he did every year, trying to outdo the neighbors. The light was colorful and beautiful, but still a little eerie. The children were still young enough to be very aware of the fact that their living room, bright and cheery throughout the day, had an altogether different appearance in the dark. Suddenly, they heard footsteps. They looked at each other, their hearts beating in their throats. The footsteps sounded like they were coming from the roof of their single-story house. They couldn't believe it. It was Santa. His black boots were walking on the rooftop, just feet over their heads. Nervously, but aching for a closer look, they snuck through the large bay window that looked out onto the backyard. In the shadows cast by the colorful Christmas lights, they saw in the snow the figure of a man on their roof. They heard the snow crunching underneath his boots, and then another sound, where may have been there all along, but they hadn't noticed it until now. A tap-tap-tapping that could only have come from the hoofs of reindeer. Billy turned to Jenny and whispered, "We better find somewhere to hide. We don't want Santa to see us here, or else he won't leave us any presents." But he had barely got the words out of his mouth when suddenly the Christmas lights on the roof went out. Jenny looked at Billy. As the older brother, he was usually the one who came up with the plans, but she could see that he was as confused as she was. Another sound, louder this time. A sliding noise, and then a muffled plop, as a large figure fell from the roof and landed in the snow outside the window.
Where is he going with this?
I'm not certain.
I like this guy. Good call, Duncan.
For a long moment, the figure didn't move. In the darkness, it was too difficult for Jenny and Billy to even tell what had landed in the snow just feet from them, until it started to move. It was a man. Their eyes adjusted to the darkness enough to be able to tell that his head was bare, but he reached out into the snowdrift when he lifted his hand and came up with a floppy tassel hat, which he awkwardly placed on his head. He stood up slowly. Jenny and Billy could barely breathe. His back was toward the children, so they could not see his face. They could see that he had a large shiny bat, which he took with his left gloved hand, and that he slowly turned. They saw in the light of the moon, with his right hand should have been what was apparently a large shiny hook.
What did he say?
Tell me he just said large shiny book and I misheard him?
No. He said hook.
The large figure continued to turn slowly until they realized that he was heading straight for the back door.
Mike, are you hearing this? Mike!
Sorry, Duncan, I was listening to the story. What's up?
What is your guy doing?
What he does best, Duncan, scaring the bejeebers out of me. He's even better tonight. fuck him.
Billy breathed more easily when he realized that the door was locked and there was no way that Santa's hook could break into the house without Dad hearing the commotion.
Mike, it's a Christmas show, a family show.
Speaking of families, the phone lights just lit up like a Christmas tree. My children are screaming on line 1. I'll never be able to get my kid to sleep tonight on line 2. And what kind of an idiot is running this show on line 3?
Take a message.
I'll take some calls.
His eyes got wider as he recognized the jingling sound, and he was hearing was not the sleigh bells, but keys which were even now unlocking the back door.
Trust me, Duncan, you'll be okay.
No, ma'am, I assure you that we haven't gone insane.
I really do want to hear the end of this story.
Yes, ma'am. I'll pass your complaint to the idiot who's running the show.
How's the audience?
Well, honestly, they look a little stricken.
Billy mouthed the words, "Run!" to her sister. She wouldn't scream if she could have focused her voice.
Yes, sir. I can assure you that all of the acts went through a thorough screening before we booked them. Mr. Michaels came highly recommended.
I may have to kill Mike on my way to my next job.
Sorry to interrupt. Hey, what's going on?
Oh, we're just busy frightening the townsfolk. What do you need, Andy?
As many squares of linoleum tile as we can find.
What?
Linoleum.
I don't know. Did you check the janitor's closet?
Yeah, that's where we got the plywood.
What?
The ladies' room floor is linoleum. You know, now that I think of it, I think they stored some of the extra tiles under the sink.
Great. Can you get it for me? Courtney? Anyone?
We're busy. It's up to you to go where no man has gone before.
Ah, great.
What are you guys up to? And where are your shoes?
If you want your tap dancers, there's no time to explain. I'm out of here.
I think I may be too.
The calls have stopped. 3 complaints. That's not too bad.
That's because he's wrapping it up.
So Dad explained that he was simply trying to surprise Mom on Christmas morning with the new satellite dish. And what the children had thought was a hook was actually a piece of their old antenna, which Dad had accidentally broken off during his slide off the roof. The tired children happily went off to bed and will forever remember the Christmas that they got the gift of free. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!